guys, welcome to the Body and Soul Shop. Just want to give you an update of what's been going on around here for the last week or so. I think it's been about 2 weeks since we've posted anything. So finally got the grill shell on. Wanted to show you the grill. I made this originally. Took 1/4-inch bar stock. Had to form pieces at the top and bottom to hold the round stock and then drill holes through the plates. And each one of these tubes had to be individually bent radius so that it made it form the way it did to the grill. That was a lot of work and a lot of time, and then it was very expensive getting it chrome, but it paid off. I mean, this thing looks phenomenal, I think. And we're making progress on this thing. We're going to start showing you how we're block sanding on the body and getting it ready to go. So hopefully in a couple weeks we'll be painting the body. But we'll show you that here in just a second. Okay, so this whole grill shell deal it's pretty heavy, and it takes two. Probably best if you have 3 guys, and we had 3 right here. So there's a stud on either side that goes all the way down through the 2x4 frame, the box framing. There's a couple bolts in the front that come in, and then there's 2 bolts that come down on the inside of there also, just to hold this. So there's 6 bolts holding this grill shell in place. And the trick of it is it has to slide down around the radiator, and those bolts have got to go through the 2x4 frame. So it's really awkward trying to get it all on there. But like I said, if you just take your time, and you got a couple guys, you can pull it off. Also, I don't have it here right now to show you, but I also made a grill that matches the grill out here that goes in the front of the air scoop. So it has chrome teeth in it too, or chrome bars like the grill does, but I'll show you that in a future video when we get that far. I'm not going to put that all on there until we've got it fired up again, because it's quite a job taking everything back apart. A lot to it. It doesn't look like it, but there is. So we'll continue on. And I hope you guys are enjoying this. Okay, so we're almost finished putting the frame together. We're going to go to the body and show you what we're doing on the body. My goal was to have the chassis all done, so when we're done painting the body, it's all wet sanded and buff. We can set right over on the chassis, and we're good to go, because it won't take hardly anything to finish it up at that point. So we're going to show you now block sanding and getting this body ready for the paint. So today I'm going to show you about block sanding, how we do it and what it shows and everything like that, and why we do it. So this body's got a long radius in it. It's pretty straight, but it does have a bow to it. Okay, so the lower you go, the more it bows in every direction. I mean, it rolls one way, it rolls the other way, so there's a lot to it. And so it ain't like you can just use one block on it when you're blocking. You got to use several different blocks to accomplish what you got to do. All these spots here that you see, we of course had to skim coat this whole quarter panel with filler, because there's a lot of cuts and a lot of splices to make all this stuff. So it was pretty close when we primed it. Now, we primed it in 2016, and this thing's set for a long time until we got back to it when the customer wanted to get back to it. So this is the first time it's ever been blocked. So now what you see, these darks or these light spots, is filler that was just a hair high. And so I've blocked it all out now, and it's ready to reprime. So we'll show you that when we get it reprimed, and we'll probably have to block it one more time. It should be good to go after that, because I've got it pretty close. But that's what block sanding shows. It shows all your little highs and lows. So you can go back and fill what you got to fill if you have to. But most of the time, when you get it to this point, you can prime it real heavy, block it again, and it's usually pretty good. Okay, so this is some of the stuff that you use when you're block sanding. You got several different blocks, a super long block, several shorter ones, a couple of different lengths of these square blocks or rectangular blocks here. I even use paint sticks a lot of times. I use the soft block that we use for wet sanding sometimes. This little blue and black block, I like this a lot, because it's got little perforated or little holes in it, which can kind of help you grip a little bit. You have a little bit more control over that, but it's a stiffer block. It does flex, but it's a little bit stiffer. This is called guide coat. This stuff, I'll show you how we do it. You shake it, and it's a powder, almost like a baby powder, but it's black. And so you just put it on over that. And what happens is when you block sand it, the dark will stay in the low spots. This would have been low, this would have been high, this would have been high, that would have been high. But like I said, it was very minor. It's not like it was really bad. You could hardly feel it. So when you put the guide coat on there and you sand it, it helps to magnify the low spots. Normally, I use 80 grit and 180. It just depends on how bad it is. If you got something that's really low, or you have some areas that are low and high a lot, I'll start out with 80 grit and knock it down, and then I usually go to 180. The other thing that I do, believe it or not, this sounds really weird, but you can take something like this blue towel. You don't want to use something super thick. This will actually magnify a low spot. When you're block sanding something, you can wipe over it. You go lengthwise with it or whatever. I mean, you can go every direction. But this actually will magnify the low spots. You can feel it better with a little bit of padding under it. Like I said, not much, but you can feel that better than you can with your bare hand in most cases. So that's just a couple little tips that I'll teach you. So I use this little adjustable blow gun. You can make it just where it barely puts out anything, or it puts out a lot. But what this does, when you get it block sanded, you go back over it. What that does, if there's sand scratches yet, it'll clean the powder out of it, your sanding powder or whatever. So also it will expose any little pinholes. So if you got pinholes or heavy sand scratches or something, if it's just 180 or 80 grit scratches, don't bother. If you got 40 grit scratches, you may have to skim coat it a little bit. But what I tend to do is I'll use a glazing putty, this kind of stuff right here. It's much like regular filler. It does take an activator or hardener for it. And usually what I'll do, depending on how much I gotta do, but most of the time when you get this far, you find just really small stuff, you know, maybe little pinholes or whatever. So I'll squeeze just a little bit off in the corner of the filler and a little bit off in the other corner with hardener. And I'll just take my little squeegee with whatever size I'm doing, but if it's just pinholes, I'm gonna do something small. And I'll just pinch out a little bit of that filler, put it over here, pinch out a little bit of hardener and mix it together. That way you don't have a whole bunch mixed up and you're wasting it, because this stuff's extremely expensive now. And then just go back, if there was a little pinhole there, I just go back and squeeze it real tight into that pinhole, kind of work it in. You don't want to glob it on there, because if you glob it on and you start sanding, it makes it a lot harder. You're going to get, you could cause high and low spots by doing that. So try to get it as tight as you can and feather it out. So those are a couple little tips that I'll give you for block sanding. It's very time consuming. When I'm block sanding, my eye is always watching the panel. It's watching the high spots pop up, it's watching for sand scratches, and as I'm sanding, you see that stuff start to go away or magnify. Like that spot right there and this spot right here would be magnified. The more you sand it, if it was high, it's going to be high until you start seeing it taper out. And you can see it's tapered out real nice. It's got a real soft edge. You can't even feel it anymore. So I've went far enough with that. So it's good to prime. This might be a good spot right here. You can see little dark spots. Those are sand scratches, okay? But they're gone now. I mean, you can't feel them anymore because I've blocked it out. But that's the kind of stuff you're looking for. You're looking for little lines, little pinhole type stuff or whatever in there, and you sand it till you get that either taken out, or you have to know when to stop too, and that's kind of hard for me to tell you when to stop. It just kind of comes with experience. So hopefully that helps a little bit, and we're going to continue block sanding on this thing. It took me several hours of block sanding, but there's a lot of coves and little tight spots you got to get into too. And this is all handmade. I made all this stuff from scratch, so it took a little bit of time to make sure everything was good and ready to prime again. So we're there on this panel. We'll prime it again. Like I said, block it out one more time, and we should be good to paint on this quarter panel. We'll continue showing you more as we go with it. Okay, so I have made finished panels to go underneath the dash. I had a top of a dash out of a 67-8 Camaro that I used the vents out of the top, the defrost vents, and welded them in here. And what that's going to do, when we open the cowl vent, it's electric cowl vent, so when we open the cowl vent, that forces air down underneath the dash. So this panel right here, there's one for each side. It goes up in here, fits real tight, and then it screws to the bottom of the dash here a couple places. So when you open the cowl vent, it's going to force air out of here. Now also, I made this centerpiece, and that fits up and under here, similar to that right there. It's just a quick glance at it, but so it's also forcing air not out of this vent down here only, but it's forcing air out of this. And I will show you what I've made for this that fills this gap right here. It's really awesome. I used a 56 Ford Crown Victoria headlight bezel. Now, these originally were all totally filled in, and they were just painted black from the factory. But we got in here and cut all the solidness out of that. Okay, so what happens is this sets up in here like this, and then it will be bolted in place. So So when that goes up in there, that's all the gaps are really tight. I'm just holding it up here again so you kind of get the picture of what's going on. So fresh air will come out through these vents right here. Okay, so this is just a roughed in right now, but this will give you a little bit of an idea what this panel looks like and how it's going to function. Of course, we had to have a slot here for the pigtail for the turn signals and all that kind of stuff. The steering column's right here. It's got a column drop, so you won't even see the slot once that's all up in there. But that's kind of a rough idea how this is going to work on that side right there. Okay, so just a quick preview. We've been working on this 65 F100 frame. Got most of the brake lines ran. Obviously, we can't finish them up until we get the cab and the master cylinder, booster, all that stuff on there. But we got it all roughed in now. We're going to take you into the paint booth and show you the cab. We've been painting on it, and it's really coming along nice. So hopefully, in a couple days, we'll have it wet sanded and buffed, and we'll be able to set it down there on the cab. Because we got to start putting motor and transmission, get all that stuff jigged up, and we just got the new motor in. It's a fresh block and everything, so we're going to build that, and we'll show you that as we go along.
Oh, it's Seth.
Hello, sir.
Just Seth.
How are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good.
Outstanding.
Okay, so for the last week, we've been painting on this cab. We've done it in sections because it'd be impossible to paint everything all at once. Not impossible, it'd be very difficult to keep everything wet, painting inside and outside and everything. So we've kind of done it in a couple stages. The dash is already two-toned, it's blue and white. And right now we're prepping, taping this off to spray the white for the two-tone on it. So here, probably tomorrow we'll spray it, maybe even later today we'll spray the white. So in a couple days you'll be able to see what it's going to look like. And it's really turning out nice. This thing's really going to be a nice truck. So when Seth sprayed the bottom of the dash, the two-tone white part, he also sprayed the gauge bezel, the glove box door, the ashtray, and the little filler pieces that go in there. So that this is the white that it's going to be, so you'll kind of get an idea of the blue and white, what we're doing here.
Hey, it's the super secret mechanic.
No, man.
And a sidekick, Cody. What's up, Cody? You say hi to the camera?
I don't want to mess y'all up.
Cody. Cody. What are you doing there, super secret mechanic?
Making a brake line. Isometric flare.
Look at that.
So our super secret mechanic, he's doing the brake lines on the truck, and he's helped us with a ton of mechanical stuff. It's not that I can't do it, it's just a lot of times I have other things that I need to be doing, so it's a real blessing to me to have him come down and help knock stuff out. It really keeps things rolling like it should. So while you're block sanding, you got a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to do that, and it's very tedious, but also it gives you time to think about stuff. And I was just sitting there thinking, you know, words matter. What you say to somebody, what you speak to them or over them or about them can make or break their lives, you know, sometimes. And so let's just be conscious and let's encourage people and not discourage them. Thanks, man, for watching. God bless. Have a great day.